Imagine leaving behind everything you once knew, your friends, your first love, even your family, only to return 15 years later as one of the richest men alive. You expect celebration, admiration, and respect. But what if, instead of applause, you're met with silence, pain, and secrets buried in the streets you once called home? Stay with me till the very end, because what this billionaire discovers in his hometown will not only shock him, but also change him forever. Ethan Cole had everything: skyscrapers with his name etched in glass, a business empire worth billions, and a lifestyle that most could only dream of. Yet, for all his power, he lived with a hole in his chest that money couldn't fill. 15 years earlier, he had left his small hometown of Willow Creek with nothing but a suitcase and a broken heart. He had sworn never to return, especially after the night when his father's debts forced his family into shame and poverty. Ethan left determined to build a life where no one could ever look down on him again. Now, the town he once ran from stretched before him as he stepped out of his sleek black car. He expected change, modern streets, thriving businesses, but instead, Willow Creek looked stuck in time. Paint peeled from the houses. The once bustling main street was half empty. And the old diner, where he and his childhood friends used to meet, stood abandoned, its neon sign flickering faintly. Whispers followed him as he walked. People recognized him instantly, the boy who had left in disgrace now returned in luxury. Some gazes were curious, some bitter, and some resentful. But the sharpest pain came when he saw her. Grace Miller. His first love. The girl he had promised to write to return for. He had kept neither promise. She now stood outside a small bookstore, her hands worn from work, her eyes carrying both strength and sadness. And beside her, a boy of about 14, laughing, chasing a stray soccer ball. Ethan's heart stopped. Could it be? Grace's eyes met his, widening in disbelief. But instead of the warmth he remembered, her expression hardened. She turned away, gathering her son, and walked inside without a word. Ethan stood frozen, guilt rising like a tide. He thought money would erase the past, but the wounds he left behind were deeper than he imagined. The next days were heavy. Ethan tried reconnecting with the town, offering donations, rebuilding the old community center, even hosting a dinner to bring everyone together. Yet, the people remained distant, their smiles polite but guarded. They didn't need his money, they needed something Ethan had forgotten how to give. One evening, he mustered the courage to step into Grace's bookstore. She stood behind the counter, arms crossed, eyes cool. "You shouldn't have come back," she said quietly. "Grace, his voice cracked. "I thought you'd be happy to see me." "Happy?" Her laugh was bitter. "You left without a word. When my father died, when the house almost burned down, when I was left raising a child alone, you weren't there." The word child hung in the air. Ethan's gaze darted to the boy arranging books in the corner. His features, those deep brown eyes, that stubborn chin, mirrored Ethan's younger self. "Grace, is he?" Ethan whispered, throat tight. Grace's silence was answer enough. The billionaire who had conquered boardrooms and empires suddenly felt powerless. His knees nearly buckled. 15 years of success couldn't erase the truth: he had a son. A boy who had grown up without him, without knowing the men who should have been there for every scraped knee, every birthday, every dream. Tears burned Ethan's eyes. "I didn't know. Grace, if I had." She cut him off. "If you had cared, you would have called. You would have written. Money doesn't excuse absence, Ethan." The room grew still. The boy, Lucas, walked over, curious. "Mom. Who is this man?" Grace hesitated, her lips trembling. But before she could speak, Ethan knelt down, meeting his son's eyes. "My name is Ethan," he said softly, voice breaking. "And I should have been here a long time ago. I don't deserve it, but I want to know you. If you'll let me." Lucas looked to his mother, confusion flickering across his young face. Grace's eyes glistened, torn between anger and the memory of the boy she once loved. 4 weeks, Ethan stayed. Not as a billionaire throwing money, but as a man showing up, helping Grace at the bookstore, walking Lucas to school, repairing old houses with neighbors. Slowly, walls began to crack. One night, as the town gathered at the newly rebuilt community center, Lucas stood on stage. His voice rang clear. My mom built this bookstore. Mr. Ethan helped fix our town. But to me, he's the dad I never knew I had. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ethan's heart swelled, tears streaming freely. Grace, standing beside him, squeezed his hand gently, not forgiveness, not yet, but hope. And in that moment, Ethan realized the shocking truth: the greatest fortune he could ever hold wasn't in skyscrapers or bank accounts. It was here, in Willow Creek, in the family and community he had abandoned but finally returned to claim. Sometimes, chasing dreams makes us forget the people who gave us our first one. But true success isn't measured in wealth or power, it's in the hearts we choose to come back for. Because sometimes, going home doesn't just change a town, it changes you.